every Wednesday from 5 to 6 p.m. on Beaver County Radio. You're listening to 99.3 FM, presented by St. Barnabas, in addition to 1230 WBVP Beaver Falls.
Junior Achievement is where dreams take flight. We are helping students connect what they learn in school to future work and career success. We are teaching them how to manage money to achieve financial security as adults. And we are showing them that starting a business also means changing lives and communities. However, we can't do it alone. Go to ja.org to learn more.
Pardon the interruption. It's Mr. Gordy. Joe, we're almost halfway through Pride Month. Do you feel any different?
Hi, I'm Joey Corsizer, and I'm so gay, I can't even drive straight. You like that one, Ryan? You like that one?
Good stuff, Joe.
Okay, good afternoon and happy Pride Month, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Thinking Logically, the show where all we do is think logically. Today, we're going to talk about ISIS possibly planning a terrorist attack in the United States via our southern border, Dr. Fauci possibly planning another attack on the gay community via monkeypox, and much, much more. But first, New York City artist and son of the president, Hunter Biden, was found guilty Tuesday on all 3 felony gun charges he faced. A federal jury concluded that Hunter Biden violated laws meant to prevent drug addicts from owning firearms. So they admit he's a drug addict. And Biden has this kid hanging around in the White House. That shouldn't surprise you, though. Just like the media coverage shouldn't surprise you at this point, they want you to feel bad for Hunter and his family. They're probably thinking Trump got a bump in the polls after being found guilty. Why not Joe through Hunter? Ryan, when you get a chance, play the Hunter verdict audio of the media.
Extraordinary scene to watch the First Lady leave that courthouse holding her son's hand.
This trial inside the courtroom, like virtually every criminal trial, was a personal story, a personal tragedy, a family tragedy. So many American families understand that, and now the first family has gone through it as well. The political consequences of it may be tempered by the fact that this is a scourge that has touched so many American families, even the president's.
It's touched so many American families. Yeah, sure. Every family struggles with the issue of purchasing a firearm by lying on a federal background check while getting a sibling's widow, who is also now her brother-in-law's girlfriend, addicted to crack, where while on crack, the widow disposes of that firearm illegally in a trash can outside of a school, all while her boyfriend, who again is also her brother-in-law, blames it on 2 Mexicans he labeled as illegals. Every family in America struggles with just that. It might be a bigger issue than abortion in this country. Look, they want to try to spin this to make you feel bad for the Bidens. Really? Hunter Biden got his brother's widow, who he was having an affair with, hooked on crack cocaine. He also left a gun in an unlocked case in an unlocked car with the windows down that her children, aka Hunter's nieces and nephews, were playing in. And then there was the porn. Hunter Biden wasn't just watching porn, he was making it. And he even uploaded naked pictures of his girlfriend/sister-in-law to his Pornhub account. And the media wants you to think this is all just fine and dandy. It's just a disease Hunter has. It's just addiction. This isn't, I guess, as bad as Trump paying off a porn star. This is much less serious. And remember, the prosecutor in this case, David Weiss, had a plea deal that included immunity and other crimes. It was all ready to go for Hunter to sign until it was blown up by a judge. That's the only reason David Weiss changed his mind and decided to prosecute Hunter Biden. After all that noise and public awakening, they had to prosecute him for something. So you're probably asking, why the gun charge, especially when it's this terrible, this bad of a case, looks-wise? It's because it's the only crime that doesn't involve the big guy. a.k.a. Pop, a.k.a. Joe Biden. And don't look at me like I'm sticking crayons up my nose as I'm saying this. There's documented exchanges between Hunter Biden and his father, and Hunter referencing his father with his shady business partners from the not University of Miami, Ukraine, of all places, and China. Remember, kids, if the laptop is real, that means the crimes on the laptops are also real. It means the Biden family is not only corrupt, but maybe compromised. Remember we heard that about Trump for 4 years in Russia? And it means that the conspiracy theorists were right for nearly 4 whole years. But at this point, who cares? The fact remains Hunter Biden made millions of dollars as an unregistered foreign agent. Mark, when do those trials start?
Joe, I'm worried about this is going to go the way of Ghislaine Maxwell and all the other things that we've heard briefly about in the last couple of years, and just kind of evaporate into thin air after this verdict, after this sentencing. I mean, yes, he is. You know, this is not implicating the big guy, as you said, Pop. You know, but it's also, you're forgetting one other person that they're covering up for by doing this: Barack Obama.
Yes, good point.
The laptop from hell. Does the laptop from hell go away, Joe, after this? Is this it? Is this the end of it? Is this the end of all of those other crimes that we now know about? Or, you know, or is something else going to happen here with the more important stuff, like who is Hunter Biden a foreign agent of? Because we know that he never registered as a foreign agent. Who is he working for? I mean, we can assume that it's Ukraine, but really, he never registered, so we technically don't know who he was a foreign agent of, I guess we can call him. So this is the least of his alleged crimes in one which doesn't implicate anyone. This is from Zero Hedge. According to the AP, Hunter stared straight ahead and showed little emotion as the verdict was read. The judge has since excused the jurors. Joe, we saw Sleepy Joe in Italy today take a question on this. He was on the podium with Vladimir Zelensky, of all people, and someone asked him about Hunter, and he said, Hunter is the most decent guy I know. Joe, your son, I know you love your son, but if your son did this 40 years from now, I don't think you'd be calling him the most decent guy that you know.
I wouldn't use my son as a bagman, especially if he was addicted to drugs. That's all I'm going to say.
Right. Now, this is from Mike Benz on X responding to Eric Schmidt. They want you to forget the DOJ was giving Hunter Biden a sweetheart deal with full immunity for all crimes against the United States until the judge asked questions. Let's not forget that, Joe. That kind of blew up in their face. When was that, Joe? A few months ago?
I want to say it was in the fall.
In the fall. And then Mike Benz responds, think how insane that is. The judge had to force the prosecutors to even bring the Hunter case. And all they brought were 3 gun charges on a gun versus 34 felonies for Trump, squeezed out of a mere $130,000 business expense. This is from the New York Times. I sent this to you, Joe. This is from John Levine on X. But when I saw this, I thought of you immediately. This is from the New York Times. This is how they are covering this. Hunter Biden was waiting for his father on the tarmac. He had just been convicted on 3 felony gun charges by a jury in Wilmington, Delaware, his hometown. His father had hastily rearranged his schedule and rushed up from Washington. Within hours of the verdict, President Biden traveled home, disembarked from Marine One, and embraced his son. The president hugged Hunter Biden's son and wife as well and bent over to kiss the head of his grandson, Beau Biden. To call the relationship between father and son battle-tested is an understatement. Joe, I highly doubt, as we said the other day, that Donald Trump Jr. would be getting the same treatment as Joseph Robinette Hunter Biden. What do you think?
Absolutely not. And they want you to feel bad, like I said, for Biden and make him like he's this loving, caring father. I'll say it again. He used his drug-addicted son as a bagman for foreign countries. And now it looks like someone's going to reap the consequences, because don't forget there's another trial coming up in the fall. I don't know what's going to happen with that one. I don't know what's going to happen with this jail sentence-wise. Maybe he does do crime and it gets... what's it called? Not clemency, not pardon. There's another, commute the sentence. So if Hunter gets sent to jail, I guess that justifies sending Trump to jail as well. If Biden commutes or pardons Hunter, I guess before the election, that's an excuse to replace Joe on a ticket. then there's the chance they wait till after the election and pardon him or commute a sentence after, especially if they win. Imagine if they cheat and win, pull that off. All the laptop crimes then go bye-bye, too. Oh,
That's a big possibility, Joe. I mean, this election can go either way. I mean, that's a big possibility. The only way that the Bidens will be brought to justice is if Donald Trump wins this election in November. I saw this on X today. Someone called it a national IQ test we're having on November 5th. And speaking of national IQ tests, Joe, we know there's been rumors floating around that you want to debate fellow WBBP personality and Democrat Mike Romay. Joe, I think we need to make this happen.
I don't think it'll happen. He's a nice guy. I don't.
We love Mike. Mike's a great guy. Our families go way back to Beaver Falls, and he's a big Democrat. Obviously, we're big MAGA people. I'd love to see it happen. I think we need to make this happen. Frank Sparks or Ryan, somebody, make this debate happen. I think this would draw huge ratings for WBVP and Beaver County Radio.
It'll be fiery, but peaceful. I can promise that. No, it's good. That's how it's supposed to work. You know, you have a debate, you debate the issues out, and people form their own opinions. No matter what, we're not gonna say some life-changing thing to anyone. People are gonna make their own decisions in the end. Like I said, you could be on the losing side of a debate and still win. You could be wrong and still win a debate. That's the beautiful thing about a debate. I think it'd be fun to have a debate. That's just me. Especially going into another debate that's going to be happening in 2 weeks with Joe Biden and Trump. That's 2 weeks from today, actually.
Yes.
I
want to talk about Merrick Garland real quick, Joe, before we get to our break.
Well, no, we got a couple minutes. I have to read this. I found this came as a shock to me. So this is reported today. Apparently, Hunter Biden has a law license, and the D.C. Court of Appeals. They're asking the D.C. Court of Appeals to immediately suspend Hunter Biden's law license upon receiving the docket entry of his conviction on 3 federal felony charges from the D.C. Bar Disciplinary Council. He has a law license? Can anyone just get one? And this is from Catherine Heritage.
I mean,
well, go ahead. No, go ahead.
I'm sure he's not. I'm sure Hunter Biden is not an idiot. You know, in that sense of the word. I'm sure he's
smartest man Joe knows.
I'm sure he's somewhat intelligent. I mean, you just can't pass the bar exam. I mean, you're just not going to get a bar license because your last name is Biden. At least I wouldn't think so. But that's kind of shocking too. I mean, I would love to know what states he's passed the bar in.
All right. Just for reference, over 90% of the people that are convicted for this kind of gun crime serve prison time, and the average is almost 5 years. I think that's because they normally bring these charges when there's another crime involved, sometimes even with the weapon. But we'll see what happens. Also, I want to Catherine Heritage from, I don't even know where she's from now. I think CBS let her go a while ago. But she says the backbone of the special counsel gun case was Hunter Biden's laptop user data. Pending California tax cases pose a significant / potential legal jeopardy for Hunter and immediate family. I guess in these emails, they call him a lobbyist, which, you know, that references Ukraine and China as a lobbyist, and it strongly suggests investigators exploring potential FARA violations, which is Foreign Agent Registration Act, I think. I can't remember. And also, she says the most important 10 seconds of special counsel David Weiss's press statement on Hunter Biden's conviction, quote, "As you know, we have additional trials and investigative work to be done, so I will not entertain questions at this time. Our work continues." I guess it's not done yet, but it's a while from, I think, September is his next court case. And we have sentencing probably in a month.
What's the next trial on, Joe?
The tax stuff in California.
Oh, okay. Yeah, another charge that doesn't implicate anyone of significance.
Yeah.
And Biden and Sleepy Joe reiterated today that he is not going to pardon Hunter. I mean, he said it again today.
He didn't say commute.
So
he said pardon.
That's correct.
All right, let's get into Joe Biden's AG, Merrick Garland. So the U.S. House of Representatives voted on Wednesday to hold Attorney General Merrick Garland in contempt of Congress. The Republican-controlled chamber passed its resolution by a score of 216 to 207, with only one Republican siding with the Democratic opposition. I don't know who that Republican was. I'll have to look it up. Garland has refused, if I'll remind you guys, to release the Hur tapes and has defied a congressional subpoena on a couple things, I think. It's the same thing that a few other people I can think of are in jail for. Look, he's the third AG in history to be held in contempt. If you remember, Bill Barr was under Trump not that long ago, and I think about 10 years ago or longer, Eric Holder was maybe under Fast and Furious under Obama. Mark, nothing happened to either of these two, but that was before people started going to jail for stuff like this. Will anything be different this time?
Probably not. I mean, you like to talk about precedent all the time. There's precedent for this, and now we do have precedent. If you are being held in contempt of Congress, we just saw one person, Peter Navarro, who I wrote to in federal prison in Miami, and he kindly responded with a letter of his own. And Steve Bannon. Steve Bannon is supposed to report to prison, but I believe they're trying to pass some sort of amicus brief in the House that would basically nullify the January 6th committee, stating that it was illegally formed. And it's a bunch of legalese within the House, and if they can rule on that and get that passed, it's a committee of, I think, 5 people. I think it's 3 Republicans, 2 Democrats. Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House, has to act on this. If they can get that amicus brief passed and nullify the January 6th committee, then Steve Bannon wouldn't have to report to prison, from what I understand. But Merrick Garland, someone Dan Bongino refers to as Derek Farland, he must have called him a muskrat 20 times today on his show. Dan Bongino really has some ire for Merrick Garland, and rightfully so. But Merrick Garland is nothing. I mean, you're the top law enforcement officer in the United States of America. Joe, I am worried about, I mean, they talk about, listen, we know that this is what the playbook is. Everything that they accuse the other side of doing, that's what they do, right? We know that. They are going to, now they've been threatening, or they've been saying that Trump is going to weaponize the Justice Department and get retribution on his political enemies. That's what they're going to do if they win this election in November, starting with Merrick Garland, or as Dan Bongino refers to him as Derek Farland, as I just said. They are going to, I think, go nuclear on all of the enemies of the Democratic Party if they win this election. And I would pray for our country if that happens, because I think that they won't hold back this time around.
My question is, will Merrick Garland, will he fall on the sword, I guess you could say, for Joe Biden? And like you said, maybe it won't even be for Joe Biden. Maybe it'll be for Obama.
Yeah. Well, let's think about why he defied the congressional subpoena. It's obviously damaging audio on these tapes that he will not release, because they edited the transcripts of his testimony, of Biden's testimony, with Robert Hur. They edited the transcripts to make Biden sound more, coherent.
Human.
Is that the word you want to use?
Not like a robot, like a human, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe not like an 81-year-old dementia patient. They will not release the tapes now. Merrick Garland will not release the audio tapes of this interview for God knows what reason. We could sit here and speculate, but he will not release them, and now he's being held in contempt of Congress because he will not release. He's defying a congressional subpoena for the tapes, for the audio tapes.
All right, that's Merrick Garland for you. And for those of you that don't know, if you're a conspiracy theorist, Merrick Garland is responsible for covering up, I guess you could say, the Oklahoma City bombing. Yeah, that's a topic for another day. Okay, when we return, though, President Biden threatened to use F-15s against his fellow Americans again? What is with this guy? Again, it's an election year. We're saying things like binders full of women and can be fatal to your campaign. How does Joe Biden keep getting away with it? Jet fighters against American citizens. We'll talk about it when we return. You're listening to Thinking Logically on 99.3 FM, live from the Danger Zone. You know, when Joe Biden shuffles in front of the cameras to answer scripted questions during the day, he lies like Don King. But what you don't know is, when he goes to sleep at night, he lies like an Egyptian king because he uses MyPillow Giza Dream Sheets. Grown only in a region between the Sahara Desert, the Mediterranean Sea, and the Nile River, its long staple cotton makes it ultra soft and breathable. Use the promo code LOGIC to maximize your savings on this amazing product.
You're listening to Beaver County Radio, coming to you live from the Fry Transportation Studios. Beaver County Radio and Fry Transportation, a winning team. 99.3 FM and 1230 WBVP, providing news, sports, and information for 76 years.
Hey guys, it's Joe from Thinking Logically here to tell you about a company I've been using since I got my learner's permit. Grossi & Associates. Using their state-of-the-art equipment, Grossi & Associates offers collision repair for all makes and models, both foreign and domestic. There's a reason why they are voted Best of the Valley year in and year out. They are the collision experts. Grossi & Associates. Call today for a free estimate.
It's Joe Corsi here from Thinking Logically to tell you about Beaver County's #1 realtor, Mark Galla with RE/MAX Select Realty. With over 10 years experience, Mark knows all the ins and outs of the real estate business, so whether you're looking to rent, buy, sell, or swap your house, you can rely on Mark to take the hassle out. Mark Galla of RE/MAX Select Realty, going above and beyond.
The views and opinions expressed on WBVP and WMBA are those of the participants and host. They are not necessarily the viewpoint of WBVP and WMBA, its staff, management, and advertisers. Thank you for listening to WBVP and WMBA.
Welcome back to Thinking Logically on 99.3 WBVP, brought to you by Mitchell's Jewelers. Remember, it takes an enormous amount of pressure to make a diamond, so why should you put yourself under any more pressure when buying one? Don't. Go to Mitchell's Jewelers, where the choice is as clear as their diamonds. That's Mitchell's Jewelers, located at 2454 Mill Street in Aliquippa, PA. 2454 Mill Street in Aliquippa, PA. Okay, so before the break, we were talking about Merrick Garland, Hunter Biden, his dad, Joe Biden, the Biden crime family in general. We're going to continue that trend right now with the Biden crime family, but I guess this is now like the Biden war family? I don't even know. President Biden gave a speech Tuesday at a Mums Demand Action rally. Apparently, he was there offering common sense gun violence prevention policies. Here's a common sense gun violence prevention policy. Don't keep your firearm unlocked but loaded in your car where your nieces and nephews snoop around. How about that? Ryan, when you get a chance, play the Biden dropping F-15s on Americans audio.
Who in God's name needs a magazine which can hold 200 shells? By the way, if they want to think to take on government if we get out of line, which they're talking again about, well, guess what? They need F-15s. They don't need a rifle.
First of all, who's talking about taking on the government again? I think that was a made-up story. Remember, Ryan, of the people up in the woods training, up in the hills training to come down to take over I think that was a made-up story. Are you?
Wow.
Do you know anyone training to take on the government right now?
I don't, but what a thing to say.
I am, and I'm doing it by voting. I'm going to take on the government by voting in November if we're even allowed. Well, why in the hell, during an election year, after your son was just convicted on a federal firearm charge, would you say this to the American people? Whatever happened to the guy that was supposed to, restore the soul of the nation and unite the country 4 years ago? He looked at us all right in the face, and he told us he would use F-15s on the American people if we don't go along with what they are doing. What does that mean? Like the green agenda? I don't even know. What is he talking about? What could we not go along with? Who sounds like the dictator here, Mark?
There's only one way to find out, Joan. We need to ask Peter Doocy needs to ask Karine Jean-Pierre to clarify these comments. I mean, what is he talking about? He is an old, and it shows every single day. This guy is an old, senile old man. Senile old man. We saw it again today over in Italy. He was being escorted around by some of the other G7 leaders. Giorgia Meloni, God bless her soul. Her heart, I should say, she's not dead yet. Rishi Sunak, some of these other people, they were escorting him around like he was walking around Brighton Rehab up there near the medical center. I mean, he was like an elder patient over in Italy today, and it was so embarrassing. This guy is completely shot. He's completely lost it. Somebody asked him a question that wasn't in the script today when he was on stage with Zelensky, and he said, "I wish you guys would play by the rules," and he wouldn't answer the question. So
what does that even mean?
That's kind of where he's at. So yeah,
you guys don't play. What does that even mean? I'll remind our audience. Go ahead.
You know, as I say, did you see he was sniffing Giorgia Meloni's hair today?
I mean, it's not a baby. Okay, I'll give. I'm not gonna even go after him from that one. She's cute. I mean, whatever. If you're gonna, at least it's someone on the same stage as him, a world leader. When the world leader starts stiffing babies' heads, I think it's a little bit different than someone could at least defend herself.
She's a nice Italian girl.
When you're the president, they let you do it and get away with it. I guess I don't know. But wait, I have to remind our audience that he's talking about how you're going to take on the government. We got F-15s. We lost Afghanistan and we had F-15s and the Taliban didn't. I mean, come on. Did you see the banner behind?
Point.
Did you see the banner behind him when he was speaking? It said Gun Sense University.
On the day that Hunter was convicted.
Gun Sense University. That's got to make Trump University look like Oxford. Let me guess. Joe Biden was a professor at Gun Sense University too for 30 years.
We claimed he was a professor at the University of Pennsylvania.
He just won't quit either. Okay. Let's move on to why we might need guns. 8 foreign nationals with plausible ties to ISIS-K were arrested in New York, Los Angeles, and Philadelphia. Mark, I see Pittsburgh's off that list. Are we okay? Do we need guns?
ISIS-K. Joe, they arrested how many people? Was it 8?
8.
8 out of the 13 million that came over illegally. To cross this border into the United States illegally. Allegedly, Joe, these 8 were vetted, too.
They were vetted as well, yes.
They were Tajikistani nationals. Entered the United States this year through the southern border and were vetted and allowed to remain in the country. Joe, if this black swan event that not everyone, I should say, most people think that's going to happen between now and Election Day, and that is a large-scale terror attack on this soil because of the millions of illegals that are here in this country, that would have to be the end of Joe Biden. You would think. I mean, luckily they thwarted these people in this possible attack that they were planning. Who knows? I mean, it could have been a coordinated attack in New York, L.A., and Philly.
We're getting numb to this, like the money to Ukraine. It's like another 8 terrorists arrested, like another $8 billion to Ukraine. You're just getting numb to it. And you're not thinking like, hey, for literally over a decade in this country, the nonstop news media cycle from like 2001 until I guess arguably 2013 or 14 was terrorism. Terrorism was the main topic. If you take any of these stories and rewind them back a couple years ago, I feel like they would get a lot more traction. People would care a lot, especially in an election year where like this is all like this is a big deal. Like these are your policies.
Well, speaking of guns, did you see there was an off-duty Atlanta police officer shot a convicted felon who opened fire in a food court mall?
No, I did not.
In, I believe, Atlanta.
Was that workplace violence? What was that registered? That's a mass shooting, but will it get classified as a mass shooting? I don't know.
This is 2 days ago. This is this week. Downtown Atlanta, 2:30 p.m. So, yeah. Luckily, we had someone that was carrying, to thwart more people dying.
It'll never get reported in the news that way, though. Not like that. They'll ignore that fact.
Of course not.
All right.
Of course not.
We have to move on to Nancy Pelosi and the audios that came out. I think it was on Tuesday. So Nancy Pelosi was caught on new footage blaming herself for not deploying the National Guard on January 6th. This comes after years of her blaming Trump for what happened that day and for the lack of response, National Guard troops, whatever. Excuse me. Apparently she was caught on tape by, I guess, her daughter telling, I guess, her daughter and the cameraman that she, quote, should have let the National Guard in. Remember, in the days prior to January 6th, she went on TV and said the Democrats had, quote, arrows in their quiver to use. Nancy Pelosi colluded with Mayor Bowser and maybe a few others, and I think that's coming out also now too, Mark. What do you think? There's something on this, I know.
Yes. Well, yeah, I mean, she was then she went immediately to MSNBC to try to refute what she said, and it made to make it sound like that's not really what she meant, that she said that. You're on tape taking responsibility for this. I saw Jack Posobiec tweet something today. It was about Pelosi's daughter. If I could find it here, I will. But it was something like the daughter, Nancy Pelosi's daughter, told Trump. I got to find it here, so you can move on to the next whatever audio you were going to play next.
Well, no, I was just going to say Carolyn Wren on X said, why did it take 3+ years for this footage of Nancy Pelosi admitting it was her fault for not having the National Guard at the Capitol on January 6th? Make no mistake, this was General Milley, Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, and this is going to make your jaw drop, Susan Rice orchestrating a coup against the American people. And I don't even know how to handle this.
Why was Mark Milley in communication with Susan Rice on January 6th?
That's a good question. Again, another question is, why was he in communication with his Chinese counterpart? This guy is going outside the chain of command more than once and doing what Susan Rice, clearly an enemy of the administration in power. I don't know. There's a lot of questions, and this is more than just the pipe bomb. Every day there's more questions that don't get answered for January 6th, and this is something they wanted to spike the football over for 4 years. They said we almost lost the country over this. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. This is the tweet. This is from Jake Sherman on X. This is, I believe, from today, because Trump was speaking with House Republicans today. Nancy Pelosi's daughter is a wacko. Her daughter told me if things were different, Nancy and I would be perfect together. There's an age difference, though. I don't know what this means, really, but this is what he told a group of House Republicans. Gotta love Trump. Today was his birthday, by the way. Happy birthday, President Trump.
All right, this is also from The Last Refuge. The pipe bombs were the backup plan. The goal was to cancel the joint session certification and stop any demand for state legislator to recertify. In essence, the goal was an emergency session. If the crowd operation didn't work, the pipe bombs would have been, quote, discovered to achieve the objective. If you remember, they had CIA, of all agencies, CIA bomb-sniffing dogs there that just went right past and didn't smell. Maybe they were drug-sniffing dogs. Maybe they grabbed the wrong dogs. I don't know. Anything else on this before we move to a break here, Mark?
No, just, more stuff on January 6th. We're still talking about it. I mean, again, Nancy Pelosi was on camera saying that she took responsibility for not securing the Capitol that day. That's all there is to it.
All right, we've been talking about January 6th, it feels like, for 3.5 years. Another thing we've been talking about for almost 3 years, monkeypox. Dr. Fauci supposedly concealed plans to create a mutant monkeypox virus that, quote, could have started a pandemic. That's according to a bombshell congressional report. Much like COVID, I thought monkeypox was a hoax. Then I saw their face. Now I'm a believer. Stay tuned. We'll be back. Cash for your house. PGHbuyers.com. If you have an unwanted house but don't want the hassle of selling, visit PGHbuyers.com to see if PGHbuyers.com can help. No inspections and a fair cash offer. Visit PGHbuyers.com to sell that unwanted property for a fair price today.
The warm weather is back, and that can only mean one thing. Pirates baseball for a 76th season is on Beaver County Radio. Make sure you set your radio dial to WBVP and 99.3 FM. Pirate baseball is being presented locally by the St. Barnabas Health System, Freedom United Federal Credit Union, Falcones Moon Township Ford, Keystone Wellness Program, Friendly Federal Credit Union, Dr. C. Timothy Lip, the Beaver Falls Municipal Authority, Patriot Home Care, Town Square Restaurant, and Beaver County Radio.
When accidents and injuries happen, you need the experience and insight of the legal team at Luxenberg, Garbett, Kelly & George, a law firm of AV-rated attorneys and super lawyers. Luxenberg, Garbett, Kelly & George, helping you put your life back together. Attorney Joe George.
You worry about getting better. You worry about taking care of the medical side of things. We'll take care of all the legal side. I don't want you worrying about whether a letter needs to go out to an insurance company. You worry about getting to your doctor's appointments. You worry about getting your physical therapy appointments. You worry about getting better. If you have to have surgery, you worry about take you back and forth to the surgical center or the hospital. And all those things, I try to put my client at ease from the standpoint of, look, this is where things are going to go. You just worry about getting there on your side of things.
For your initial consultation, call the law firm of Luxenberg, Garbett, Kelly & George at 724-658-8535 or online at lgkg.com. Luxenberg, Garbett, Kelly & George, keeping promises for over 80 years.
The views and opinions expressed on WBVP and WMBA are those of the participants and host. They are not necessarily the viewpoint of WBVP and WMBA, its staff, management, and advertisers. Thank you for listening to WBVP and WMBA.
Welcome back to Thinking Logically on 99.3 WBVP. So a gay guy with monkeypox walks into a bar, and the bartender says, "What the hell is this? Some kind of sick joke?" Is anyone alive out there? Is anyone alive? All right, let's get serious. Let's get serious here. Let's get serious. All right, now the reaction from the public wasn't like COVID when it came to monkeypox, but some people did go bananas. Okay, this is tough crowd apparently. Okay, so in 2015, I'm guessing using gain of function, Dr. Fauci's department concealed plans to create a mutant monkeypox virus. Mark, I was told numerous times that gain of function did not happen in this country, especially in 2015. I thought that's in 2014 under Obama is when we got rid of it. What went wrong here? What happened? How could this possibly have been happening in 2015 with monkeypox? And if you remember, I can't remember if it was the WHO or the World Economic Forum. They knew there was going to be a monkeypox outbreak before it happened in 2022. I don't know if you remember that. They, just like with disease X and bird flu, they were preparing people for monkeypox before it happened. We found out this is going on since 2015. Makes a lot more sense, doesn't it?
Yeah. This is from this video here of Fauci. He goes on to say, a quote, "So many of the other gain-of-function research that we do." And then Hans Monkey says, "Before it all went wrong, Fauci was happy to acknowledge and even boast about all the gain-of-function experiments he was funding. Now he knows nothing about gain-of-function." Again, gain-of-function when you're altering viruses in a lab, playing around with them. I mean, they're creating monkeypox viruses back in 2015. Joe, I'm worried that something's going to happen with this bird flu, and they're going to mutate it or something like that, and it's going to spread. That's really what worries me. Going into this election. I mean, we are only 3 months away from ballots being cast, and less than 5 months away from election day. So there's still time for this to spiral out of control.
Do you think we'll ever have a Nuremberg 2.0, as some people call it on X, Twitter, social media, where there actually is accountability?
I sent you something last night. I think it was the new special on Netflix about the rise of the Nazi Party and the Nazi Party in Germany. And my wife, was in the room, and she said, "What's the Nuremberg? What's Nuremberg?" I said, "The Nuremberg trials. That's when they, she's not a history person. She's, I just got to explain. It's when they tried the Nazi officers, military officers they captured from World War II, and for their crimes against humanity, and especially in the role in the Holocaust." But I don't know, Joe. I don't know if we'll ever have something like that. I'm worried that it might be we might be on the other end of that, if you know what I mean.
Don't say that. We got to go in the mountains and train harder apparently now.
I just hope we didn't make the Ukraine enemy list that they sent out.
Well, why monkeypox? And it's Pride Month, so I want to remind our audience, Dr. Fauci was the point man, just like on COVID. He was the point man on AIDS. And a lot of people in the gay community, I would say a good portion, 90% or more, hated Dr. Fauci. Monkeypox. I just can't figure out why monkeypox. Now I've got bumps. I'm a believer. All right, we're done. All right, let's move on to the Supreme Court. I thought we were going to get a ruling today, Mark. So recap the last couple of days. June 11th, Hunter Biden, Joe Biden's son, was handed a felony conviction. On June 12th, Biden's attorney general was found guilty of contempt of Congress. And on June 13, today, the Supreme Court gave us nothing. Mark, my prediction is the U.S. Supreme Court will rule in favor of Trump maybe tomorrow. I'm just going to say it tomorrow in his amnesty case. What do you think?
I do think we're going to see something probably tomorrow or, it would have to be tomorrow, right? Or next week?
I'm guessing tomorrow. It could be next week, but I'm guessing tomorrow. Do it on a Friday. Why not on a Friday?
Yeah. They released one ruling today on the abortion pill. I forget the name of it, misoprostol or something like that, mifepristone. I forget the exact name, but that came out today. I don't know. I mean, I think we're going to see something soon. So it's going to be earth shattering whenever it comes out. I do think they're going to rule on the side of presidential immunity, and give President Trump and past presidents, let's not forget past presidents, future presidents, that protection that when they're in office, they are immune from certain things. So, I mean, why not?
I just watched.
I think you're going to see a 6-3 ruling.
I hope, but I can't wait to see the media coverage, no matter what, after the ruling, because I think this was from the ruling today. Maybe it had to do with Judge Alito. I don't know. Maybe he keeps on just flying flags, and that's so much worse than leaving your gun loaded, unlocked in your car next to children. Anyway, Renee Jefferson, she's a law professor, and she was on CBS. I think she might even be a contributor to CBS. So this is like an expert. She said, right now, frankly, we have a Supreme Court that is operating without consequences, and Congress needs to step in and provide oversight? Yeah, when she says right now, she means since 1789. Also, have these people never heard of separation of powers? This is an expert. Congress needs to step in and provide oversight? Why don't they just ask Joe Biden to pack the court, since you clearly don't respect decisions when they don't go your way? Am I right or am I wrong? For 4 years, we heard Trump respected every Supreme Court decision and even got trashed in the media when he didn't. Joe Biden walks all over the Supreme Court when it comes to student loan debt forgiveness. I could sit here and name it for hours. We only got 20 minutes left in the episode, though. What is with this?
Joe, you know for a fact that if the Democrats had the House and the Senate, they would pack the court. They would absolutely pack the court. They would be completely unchecked. Hopefully we could take the Senate. In worst case scenario, we have the House and the Senate after this election. But I agree with Dan Bongino. I mean, I don't think there's going to be a red wave in November. I hope I'm wrong, but hopefully we could take the House and the Senate, and we could, be some sort of buffer toward this tyranny.
I want to remind our audience, too, because there is going to be a decision. It didn't get leaked out. I thought it might get leaked out. Maybe it'll get leaked out Friday and then not released until Monday. That'll cause a real storm in the country and on the media. But this is from The Last Refuge on Twitter. If you remember, before I read this, the Dobbs leaker from 2 years ago was never caught, never found, let alone punished. So The Last Refuge says the Dobbs leaker is Sheldon Snook, Mary McCord's husband. And just so if you probably don't know who Mary McCord's husband is, I had to look it up. Mary McCord is the former acting assistant attorney general for national security of the United States. So it just another wrinkle in the story. How are all these people interconnected? I don't know. But again, never punished, never found. It's amazing. Anything else, Mark, before we move on to a sad story and then cut to a break?
No, I just saw this on X here. It's been 48 years since a presidential general election didn't have a Bush, Clinton, or Biden on the ticket.
Nice.
How about that?
Nice. We don't need political royal families in this country. All right. This is a sad story. So this is about the murdered 3-year-old in Ohio. This is from Libs of TikTok. Meet Judge Brian Hagan. He released Bionica Ellis without a hearing just 4 days before she stabbed a 3-year-old to death. It was recommended she get a psych eval after she told cops she murdered someone and had multiple warrants out for her arrest. Yet he decided to release her and now says he wouldn't do anything differently. He faces re-election in 2025. Remember this, Ohio. And I don't know why this doesn't get more national attention. Maybe because it wasn't a gun, it was a knife that used, but a 3-year-old child with his mother murdered by a crazy person who was literally in jail in court 4 days before that and should not probably, I'm not a legal expert, I guess, have been out. And this person will probably get reelected. Makes you sick. Mark?
Why did he release her?
I don't know.
Out of here.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't have an answer. In hindsight, it's definitely the wrong decision, but our criminal justice system is a joke, let's be honest. I mean, look at it the last week. 2 weeks.
I mean, look at this woman. She smiled and was laughing in court.
Sick people. And I'll pray for her. What else? I mean, I'll pray for her because she belongs in the lake of fire, to say the least.
Sick people, man.
All right. When we return, speaking of sick people, New York City Mayor Eric Adams thinks a reporter has a hot summer body. John Fetterman, he's covering his hot summer body by now wearing a hoodie underneath his suit jacket. Keep in mind, next week, I believe, is the start of summer, and Joe Biden is just a body. No brain, just a body. Stay tuned. You're listening to Thinking Logically on 99.3 WBVP. It's Joe again from Thinking Logically, here to tell you about one of my favorite clothing items, the MyPillow hoodie. Two things I love the most about this hoodie are how it fits and how it feels. This hoodie is extremely roomy, and its terry cloth material makes it lighter than any other hoodie I own. Use promo code LOGIC to maximize your savings. The MyPillow hoodie. Get yours today. Cash for your house. PGHbuyers.com. If you have an unwanted house but don't want the hassle of selling, visit PGHbuyers.com to see if PGHbuyers.com can help. No inspections and a fair cash offer. Visit PGHbuyers.com to sell that unwanted property for a fair price today.
You know, when Joe Biden shuffles in front of the cameras to answer scripted questions during the day, he lies like Don King. But what you don't know is, when he goes to sleep at night, he lies like an Egyptian king because he uses MyPillow Giza Dream Sheets. Grown only in a region between the Sahara Desert, the Mediterranean Sea, and the Nile River, its long staple cotton makes it ultra soft and breathable. Use the promo code LOGIC to maximize your savings on this amazing product.
Hey guys, it's Joe from Thinking Logically here to tell you about a company I've been using since I got my learner's permit. Grossi & Associates. Using their state-of-the-art equipment, Grossi & Associates offers collision repair for all makes and models, both foreign and domestic. There's a reason why they are voted best of the Valley year in and year out. They are the collision experts. Grossi & Associates. Call today for a free estimate.
The views and opinions expressed on WBVP and WMBA are those of the participants and host. They are not necessarily the viewpoint of WBVP and WMBA, its staff, management, and advertisers. Thank you for listening to WBVP and WMBA.
Welcome back to Thinking Logic on 99.3 WBVP. We unpacked quite a lot this episode, all the way from the Hunter Biden verdict to Joe being still in Europe, Dr. Fauci, monkeypox, Supreme Court. Now we're going to cover jobs. As Joe Biden would say, a three-letter word. Jobs. Mark, California saw 90,000 people lose their jobs in 2 weeks? How is that possible? What? Am I reading this right? Is there a comma wrong?
90,000 jobs. 90,000. How do we know 90,000 people lost their jobs, Joe? Where do we get those numbers from? Those are unemployment statistics. So, for our listeners who don't know, they raised the minimum wage in California to what, Joe? $20 an hour?
Yeah, I forgot. Now I know where you're going with this.
$20 an hour, the minimum wage was raised to in California. They said since in the last, month, they said probably between 10 and 20,000 fast food workers have lost their jobs because these restaurants can't afford to pay these workers minimum wage, $20 an hour. California unemployment, this is from Newsweek, not the most conservative publication. California unemployment benefit claims have hit 90,000 in 2 weeks, data from the Department of Labor shows. For the week ending in June 8th, new claims for jobless benefits shot up by 10,000 from the prior week to 51,000 applications. The previous week's new benefit claims stood at close to 41,000. That's over 90,000 in 2 weeks. People filed new claims for unemployment. Joe, I wanted to bring this up because the political animal that is Gavin Newsom is going to run for president one day. And he is a very slick-talking, sharp, conniving politician. He is the definition of politician. He is a political animal. We cannot let him anywhere near the White House. He will be 1,000 times worse than Joe Biden ever is or ever was. And California is a complete disaster. Someone sent me a video last night of Jillian Michaels, the fitness instructor, who is married to a woman and has a child. And she was on the Sage Steele interviewed her, and it was on TikTok, and she was explaining her reasons for moving out of California finally. And she's like, it is insane what is going on here in this state of California. Patrick Bet-David, another conservative podcast host, was also talking about something similar, saying he grew up in California, loves the state, and they are just completely off the rails in that state. And it's a shame what's going on there, because it's a beautiful place.
California is a very beautiful place. All over the whole state. Big state, too.
We can't let Gavin Newsom. We cannot let Gavin Newsom anywhere near the White House, Joe.
No, I don't think they'll use him. Like I said, you can't switch out an old white guy with just a younger white guy, especially when you.
No, I'm thinking 2028.
Him and Josh Shapiro could be a ticket, but again, 2 white people. I don't know how that would work. All right, let's move on to the biggest news story of the day yesterday. That's according to our buddy George Papadopoulos. Saudi Arabia ditches the U.S. dollar and will not renew the 50-year petrodollar agreement with the United States. Saudi Arabia will now sell oil in multiple currencies, including the Chinese, euros, yen, yuan, instead of exclusively in U.S. dollars. And Mark, this has been for 50 years an agreement that we will provide security for Saudi Arabia as long as it accepts payments in only U.S. dollars. And that gets our money everywhere all over the world and helps keep it at status as a reserve currency. What's going to happen now? And this is a rhetorical question. I don't know. What's going to happen now? This is the beginning, I think.
This could be catastrophic, or this could be nothing. I don't know. I mean, I'm not an economist. I mean, we don't know what's going to happen. This isn't the other point of view here regarding this situation. So, for those of you who don't know, oil is traded in dollars. Saudi oil was traded in dollars. So now they're going to trade oil. I think is this confirmed? Like, I don't know if this is actually confirmed or not, if they're going to extend this or not. But this is on the other side of that argument. It says Saudi, this is from Live Monitor on X. Saudi ended the petrodollar agreement floating around social media is ignorant. Petrodollar is a relic and not really important since the eurodollar is the granddaddy of the entire financial system. The story is false and not based on any reality. Don't fall for the stupidity of pro-China, pro-Russia, pro-crypto, pro-gold disinformation campaigns. That is all. Go about your day. Joe, I don't know what to believe here, but I've seen more. This is going to be a catastrophe than not.
Yeah, it'll be a catastrophe. Although you're not going to want to hold U.S. dollars if you're a business in China. It's again, and what happens when all them dollars come back to U.S. shores? Come back here. Do you know what that kind of inflation will look like? It'll be crazy. Crazy prices.
It'll make the last couple years look like, 2005.
All right. Speaking of dollars, taxes, everything else, this made me jump up and want to do a heel click. Donald Trump, okay, floated the idea briefly today of eliminating income tax and replacing it with, I believe, tariffs. This is from Thomas Massey. Most intriguing policy idea from the GOP meeting at Capitol Hill Club this morning. Trump briefly floated the concept of eliminating the income tax and replacing it with tariffs. That's how it's supposed to be. Our founding fathers would be clapping up a storm right now. Standing ovation. Should be no income tax on your labor. Use tariffs like we did until the Federal Reserve Act of 13?
Joe, how do you feel about this?
Love it. Love it. Honestly, if you're a small business, you should love it. If you're anyone, you should love it. Who wouldn't love it except other countries that aren't America, that have to pay more to have their products here? Again,
this is how we generated income as a nation, right? Up until, the 1920s?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. There was no income tax. There was no tax on your labor unless you own land, too. I think there might have been. I don't even know. Honestly, I don't know. But there was not tax on your personal labor, meaning you go to work at a construction job. You work for 12 hours a day. The government doesn't take half your paycheck when you work time and a half and double time. Again,
yeah, I mean, if you
tariffs.
look at this chart here, the income tax started in around 1915 is when income tax revenues began. Before that, it was just tariffs. And then it began the payroll tax as well. Joe,
we're going to have to peel all this back. We're going to have to. Good.
I saw one thing that said this would supercharge the economy.
It probably would. You'll know how the media reacts to it. If they start pulling out their hair and eating it, you'll know that it's probably a good thing. But yeah, again, then you had NAFTA with Bill Clinton that forced all the manufacturing because you couldn't buy an iPhone if someone was getting paid $30 an hour to manufacture. They devalue the currency, so you have to, it's like a drug. You have to have more currency. You think you're making more money, but with inflation, you're just making less. We've gone over it enough. I mean, this is the last segment. We probably have to move on. All right. What's next? Nathan Wade was back in the news cycle. I think he did an interview with someone, and his staff, I think it was CNN, his staff actually came in and interrupted him when he was asked the exact date his relationship began with Fannie Willis. I guess we're just going to do three or four stories at the end of the day about just total shuffling idiots. Eric Adams, Biden, and our good friend Fetterman. But did you see Nathan Wade?
I did. He got up and he was being signaled to, and he got up and someone said something, and then he came back. So,
what could be fun? What could be funnier than that? Than John Fetterman in the middle of summer wearing a white hoodie with a blue tie and a suit jacket. He makes it look pretty good. He does make it look pretty good, I have to say.
The tie is literally wrapped around his neck, like just skin.
We need to get video cameras or radio cameras in here. Can anyone? Ryan can see it.
I can see.
Ryan can see it. I don't know if those of you at home could see. It's a blue tie. It looks like it's a white bed sheet, but it's actually a hoodie. He looks good in a bed sheet and a tie, hoodie and a tie.
We should reach out to his people and see if we can get him get an interview with him.
Yeah, I think I might have burned those bridges, Mark. If you remember the couple times that I called.
Oh, I do.
Let's not get into that on here. Okay, enough with Fetterman. Let's move on to Biden shuffling around. This was in Italy. You mentioned something earlier about this. Biden appeared to start wandering off at the G7 summit and has to be handled back in. Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni was seen grabbing Biden to bring him back to the group. This wasn't the only awkward encounter between the two. Biden was caught on camera saluting Giorgia Meloni before shuffling away. What a clown show. Also,
look, and they all kind of walk near Biden to make it not look so obvious that he's completely. Look how slow his arms move.
Yeah, I had to make sure I wasn't at half speed. He's really putting his glasses on that slowly.
Yeah.
For dramatic effect, he's going real slow. But no, that's how slow he moves. He needs the Tin Man, maybe a little bit of oil, loosen him up a little bit. Robot Biden. I also say it's the G7. Why is Zelensky and Ukraine there? They wouldn't make the college football G top 25, and they're there at the G7. Where do they rank? I guess we gave him so many $1 billion. Maybe they made it to the G7.
They're going to give Ukraine a $50 billion loan based on seized Russian assets in Europe or something like that. I saw today.
That'll go over well.
How can they do that?
I guess you could do whatever you want when you're the West.
Yeah.
And our last story of the day, Eric Adams praised the reporter's body. It wasn't his first such remark. Eric Adams told a journalist that he looked like he was, I don't even know. The paywall came up. I don't even know. What is with Eric Adams, though, and complimenting bodies? Is this sexist, Mark? It's during Pride Month, so maybe it's allowed. I don't know. Maybe it's a comment. The reporter may have felt uncomfortable. I don't know.
He is an interesting dude, this Eric Adams.
Odd cat.
Yeah. By the way, I was in New York was it Saturday? I think I texted you. I saw your boy Neil Cavuto walking through Times Square, Joe.
What a loser. I'll never forget whenever it was during his show, Trump brought up hydroxychloroquine. Take it. Try it. Try hydroxychloroquine. And they cut from that briefing, whatever it was, that speech, and Neil Cavuto started shuffling his papers up and saying, we don't promote disinformation on this network. He's a paid shill. He believe me. I used to like Neil Cavuto, but he's a paid shill.
For sure.
All right, that was a great episode. Where's our stat boy? Ryan Reale, stat boy. Did we get anything wrong?
You know what? A lot of things were right on today, guys. The only thing that we do have is Trump's birthday is actually June 14th, not the 13th. Other than that, great job, guys.
It felt like PTI. I felt like Joey Korsizer over here. Mark Wilbon over here. Ryan Reale. What a lot of fun. In the next couple weeks, what are we, Mark? 2 weeks away from the debate. We're going to have a fun episode. That actually happens on a Thursday. We'll be here live in studio probably an hour or two before the debate even starts. I guess pregame coverage for it. Can it be better than the Oz Fetterman debate. Will Joe Biden look worse than John Fetterman did? Hi, good night, everyone. That's like an Arnold Schwarzenegger tagline he says before he comes in as the Terminator and shoots up everyone. Hi, good night, everybody. All right, anything else, Mark, before we get out of here?
Good episode, Joe. I'm headed to the Greek Festival down in Aliquippa right now for some food. Thanks, Ryan, our producer. Thank you to our sponsors. And today's the Feast of St. Anthony, Joe. So, in the Catholic Church. But, yeah, good episode, and we will see all you guys on Monday.
All right, we'll be back Monday. Thanks for tuning in tonight, guys. You are listening to Thinking Logically on 99.3 WBVP. See you next time.
The views and opinions expressed on WBVP and WMBA are those of the participants and host. They are not necessarily the viewpoint of WBVP and WMBA, its staff, management, and advertisers. Thank you for listening to WBVP and WMBA.
You're listening to 99.3 FM, presented by St. Barnabas, in addition to 1230 WBVP Beaver Falls.